Okay, hello and good morning, everyone. Welcome to JFD Brokers Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 7th of March 2019, so welcome everyone. Welcome to this Thursday's morning session where we're going to have a look at the markets, a few of the charts, the usual stuff. But before we do that, as always, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimer. So, the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, guys, let's quickly jump into the charts. Now, the first one I want to touch on here is the Italian index, so the FTSE MIB. Now, looking at this one, yesterday it managed to travel higher, closed, of course, in the positive territory, and what's more important, it closed at its key area of resistance, which I've mentioned a few times when I was covering FTSE MIB here in one of my previous videos, and a few of my previous videos. Basically, this 20,851 level kind of acted as a very good area of resistance, and this is, like I said, this is where the index closed. At this level here, the 20,851 level marks is near the highs of the 3rd of October. So basically, guys, I mean, this is going to be very interesting to watch if this continues to travel further up, if it wants to, of course, continue to travel further up. Now, if we look at the 4-hour chart, it's going to be a very close call here, to be honest, because if this decides to push further up here, now on this one we'll just we will continue moving carefully and cautiously to the upside. The next area that we're going to be keeping a close eye on will be this little spike high here that we saw back here on the 1st of October, and that was approximately around, let me just quickly put that here on our charts, and that's approximately around the 21,080 zone. So of course, on the way towards that level, we do have the psychological 21,000 as well, which needs to be overcome as well before reaching this 21,080 zone, of course. But like I said, this better potential area of resistance could be seen here near this 21,080 level. So keep your eyes on that one, but that's, and of course, in this scenario, if we see a further push away from the 20,851 level. So keep your eyes on this one. Very interesting. In a way, some people could also draw something like this, a potential rising channel formation, but to be honest, this is a bit of a ugly one. So even you could ignore this rising channel formation. You could, in a way, try and maybe draw something of a wedge here, but to be honest, and that doesn't really work here as well. So that's why, guys, for now, just continue monitoring this upside support line. Let's not overcomplicate things. Continue monitoring some of these key areas of resistance, but certainly for now, if this gets a nice further push above the 20,851 level, of course, we will target the psychological 21,000 or even the 21,080 levels. So, but for now, we're still quite bullish on this one. Let's see if it actually manages to travel further up. If in terms of the downside, now, in order to consider lower levels, well, initially, of course, we would like to see a drop below the lows of this week, basically, and which were around the 20,645 level. Slightly below that, we do have the 20,600 level. So that's why, in a way, you could wait until we see a drop below the 20,600 level, just for better confirmation, and then you could potentially target lower areas, initially aiming for the 20,345, or even then, if that fails to withhold, then we could potentially see a retest of this this upside support line that has been running here from the lows of the 2nd of January. So for now, of course, keep your eyes on this one. In terms of the downside, it could be slightly off the table for now, unless this decides to drop lower, but actually remains above the 20,645 level. So in that case, we could see maybe a bit of a range here, and then we'll just have to take it from there and see which way it wants to break through. But for now, we're slightly more bullish than bearish on this one. Gold. Now, this one I have talked about this one in a few videos before, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 1287, 1286 level. The only thing is that in the past, yes, it acted as a very good area of resistance and also support, but now you can see that this is just continues to trade around this. So in a way, we can remove this level right now and just try to find the other good potential areas of resistance and support, because you can see that the commodity has entered this little range here between the 1290 level. So we can just probably round it up a little bit here. So between the 1290 and let me just quickly put this another one here, between the 1283 zone, so 82, something like that, 82 and a half. Well, to be honest, that's so just to be more cautious, let's put it towards the 1282. And basically this little $8 range here where the gold is stuck right now, this is where we're going to monitor very carefully. We'll wait for a break here, because it would be difficult to say that it wants to continue traveling further down, because as you can see, looking at this little short-term downside resistance line, so the commodity is kind of quite extended away from it, so it's quite far away from it. I mean, it doesn't really mean that we could see it needs to retest that again, but again, like I said, because it's quite oversold here already on the 4-hour chart, in a way we could see maybe a bit of a correction here to the upside, but in order to consider that correction, first we would like to see a nice good push above the 1290 level. So and only then we will target this downside resistance line that I've just mentioned. But of course, don't get me wrong, on the way higher it could get held near the 1297 or even the psychological 1300 level. So basically could fail to drive towards this this downside resistance line and just kind of get held near this 1300 barrier, and if it fails to drive above this, then yep, we could see more bears jumping in potentially here and selling this one, and pushing this one further down again. So that's why, guys, for now it's probably more important to kind of continue observing some of the key areas of resistance and support. So that's what I'm saying. For now, on the for the upside, keep an eye on the 1290 level. A nice good push above that could open the path towards slightly higher levels. On the downside is again the 1282 that we're keeping a close eye on. A drop below that could open the path towards, of course, initially towards the 1279 area, approximately there, but slightly below that we do have the 1276 zone. So you can see how well this area here held the commodity from dropping lower between the 4th of January and the 24th of January. So that's why, guys, for now, keep your eyes on this. Even though we see it drop below the 1282, be very cautious with the downside. Like I said, we do have some good areas of support here. Now, if these get broken, then yep, I mean, further declines in the near term are possible. This is where we will target the 1266 area and below. But for now, this is the little range that we're keeping a close eye on. Jumping into EURJPY now, looking at a few pairs here. I'm not going to spend too much time on this one because I've talked about in one of my previous videos. But the only thing is I just wanted to kind of update you guys to show you what's happening here. So basically, you can see that the pair managed to move lower, and it's almost near its support line. This support line that has been running here from the lows of the 3rd of January, and of course it would be very interesting to see if it holds or not. At the same time, you can see that the pair is trading below this little short-term downside resistance line, a bit of a tentative one maybe, but still kind of playing out nicely here. So that's why, guys, we're keeping a close eye on this. Looking at this picture right now, it's very neutral. It could travel higher as well, but in order to consider higher levels, we would like to see a nice good push above the 126.50 level. This way we could then target higher levels, areas like the 127 or above. But for now, just stay put here. Keep your eyes on these lines and let's see how this plays out. In terms of the downside, well, even if it's going to drop below the upside support line here, still for us, for a better confirmation of lower levels, or to see lower levels, we would like to see a drop below the 125.95 level, so approximately there, guys, and then we could potentially target lower levels. This level here acted as a very good area of resistance here back on the 4th of February and also on the 20th of February, so this time it could take the role of support, and that's why, guys, we're going to keep a close eye on this one. And also this would a drop below the 125.95 would place the pair below the 100 EMA here, shown as the green line on the 4-hour chart. So keep your eyes on this one. For now, continue observing this, and let's see which way does it want to pop. Euro dollar, quick update here as well. Not much happening, and it's still kind of, today it's trading around its pivot, so it's a bit of a in neutral territory, let's say. But if this decides to continue traveling lower and decides to break below the support level that I was talking about in one of my previous videos, where the pair found good support recently, a drop below the 112.90 level could potentially lead towards further declines towards the 112.75, or even actually going towards these lows that we saw here back in around mid-February, around the 112.50. We're just gonna drag it till here. We're not gonna go too much further down, just because, like I said, it is a tricky pair right now. For now, we're just going to continue observing some of these key levels. Don't forget, we do have some ECB news coming out today, so check the economic calendar just for the time, and yeah, we could see some increased volatility during that period, or even after that. So like I said, don't forget about that. We do, like I said, after the ECB interest rate decision, we will have the Mario Draghi's press conference. So that's why, guys, be very cautious on this one, and be very careful and watch some key support and resistance levels. And in terms of the resistance levels, the 113.25 level, you could in a way keep your eyes on that one. A nice push above that could lead towards the 113.50 or even higher. So for now, we're just going to remain neutral and just continue observing the price action on this one. Looking at GBPUSD here, so after I was covering this one as well, and I was telling you guys to watch out for this 130.90 level. So we just managed to kind of almost reach that. It managed to reach the 131 zone, from which it rebounded nicely and pushed higher. So the 131 also coincided here with the 100 EMA, shown as the green line. So now you can see that it pushed higher, so we can just slightly remove this arrow here. What I wanted to quickly show you guys, of course, we had this upside support line, but now we can actually get rid of it and draw something else here. So this is the downside resistance line taken from the high of the 27th of February, and you can see this is where the pair is right now. So in a way, it kind of broke into the upside, but now it's of course retracing slightly lower. The only thing is that today is already above the pivot, which is a good sign for the bulls, but of course, in order to kind of get more comfortable with higher levels, we probably like to see a nice good push above the 132 level first, and only then we will target higher areas like the 132.85 or even above. But for now, we're just going to go step by step. Keep your eyes on the 132 level. A nice good push above that could open the path towards further higher areas. If this decides to suddenly drop below this downside resistance line and travels lower, well, we could potentially see a retest of the 131 zone, or even actually the some other lower levels. But let me just quickly adjust this support line here. So a drop below the 131 level could potentially send this one lower towards the 200 EMA here, shown as the black line, or even actually further down. But for now, guys, the downside could be slightly off the table. But again, keep your eyes on this pivot today around the 131.60 zone. If we see a drop below that, well, yep, we could maybe potentially see a further slide lower towards the 131 zone. But for now, it seems we seem to be cautiously bullish on this one. But again, like I said, anything can happen. Let's see how this plays out. And the last pair I wanted to quickly touch on, and that's USDCHF. Now I was covering this one as well in yesterday, and basically I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little formation, this little range here between the 1.0020 and the 1.0056 levels. Basically, in order to consider this one to push further up here, we need to see a nice good push initially above the 1.0056 level, and only then we will target higher areas. Of course, you can see that the upside is supported by this upwards moving trend line here. Well, maybe it's a bit too strong to call it a trend line, an upside support line. So as long as it remains intact, we could see further acceleration to the upside, especially if we see a break above the 1.0056 levels. So keep your eyes on that one. Then we will target some higher areas here. But if this decides to reverse lower and breaks the upside support line, still not all is lost for the bears. In order to consider further declines, we need to see a nice good drop below the 1.0020 level, and then we will target the of course the psychological 1 level, and slightly below that we do have the 0.9980 zone, which also could play out nicely. Okay guys, I hope you found it useful. Thank you very much for watching and listening, and if you want to join me later on in my trader's tea time, and that's 14:15 GMT time. But for now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, and I'll see you later. Bye bye.